The stage is set, and they're ready to unleash their might.
Hey, hey. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies.
We said 60 minutes. One by one, we're gonna knock it down.
Keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Yeah, I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. Yeah, I know hey, yeah. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact. Let us start a beat, don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my
We're gonna be great, man. I can't wait.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Victory Monday. First time in a couple weeks, and it feels fucking good. I am excited after a big game yesterday. I'm your host, James, and joining me, as always, on the Fight or Flight podcast is my man, Eric Fajardo, with that sweet mustache.
What's going on, man?
Giving out mustache rides all weekend.
Hey, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Hey, not a bad guy to hire for mustache rides. Before we get started, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us tickle the algorithm. We're excited to be here and talk all things Jets and sprinkle a little MMA from time to time. But right now, I just got to say,
Victory Screech! Victory!
let's fucking go. We had some
Let's go.
really, really bad news during that game, but we still have to celebrate the huge win by our guys. They played a very sloppy game, and I don't know about you, Eric, dude. That was a roller coaster ride, and I was watching the entire game ripping my hair out. Like, I was losing my shit the entire time. It was up and down, up and down. I didn't know how to handle myself. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little bit of a shit show, but at the same time, it was pretty exciting.
Like, it was a shit show, Eric? Just a little bit?
I mean, it was a complete shit show, but it was fun. It was definitely fun. It was a fun game to watch and have a team to root for in, especially the ending. You know, it's like both of our wins were pretty good games. Pretty good games. The Jets are becoming must-see TV even without Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? We've had great games.
No question we're becoming must-see TV, but I got to say, I'm sick and tired of starting out flat. Every single week, even in our victories, not just our offense is starting out flat, but the defense as well. And it's a little concerning to me because, you know, you think about the Kansas City Chiefs game a couple weeks ago. If we don't let up 17 points in the first, 10 minutes of the game, we dominate that game. That game is not even close. This game, we let a rookie, a no-name undrafted rookie, run all over us, and Russell Wilson run all over us in the first 10 minutes of the game, and we're playing from behind for 3/4 of the game because of it. And it's got to stop. Like, we got to figure it out. Our team is fantastic at making adjustments on the fly, especially our defense. But we can't allow it to get to that point where we got to make adjustments just so we're staying in the game. We should be making the adjustments to put the gas and our foot on the gas and shove it down their throats.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, Saleh touched on that in the press conference today. He said we have to we made great adjustments, but we have to get it fast. And he, called Oldbrook out by name. So, like, that's a good sign. But it doesn't even seem like they play flat where they play slow. It really seems like the scheme, it's exactly what you're saying. The adjustments aren't being made quick enough because the guys are playing like with their hair on fire. You see it, that's honestly why they're missing a lot of tackles, but you see fire right away. It's just the coaching's got to catch up a little bit quicker, or they have to have that feel a little bit quicker.
it's pretty easy to game plan against the Jets going in if you're watching the film. Like you watch the Jets, especially in the first quarter, every team does the same exact thing. The Bills did it to us in week 1. The Cowboys destroyed us with it in week 2. And it's screen game, quarterback running, draws, all these quick, short passes because they know our front 4 are going to be coming after the quarterback. And we're going to be sitting in zones. So they're like, okay, let's just throw the ball in these zones. And all of a sudden, midway through the second quarter, maybe even into the second half, all of a sudden we switch to man and we're sending blitzes, and we're being aggressive and we're changing the game plan. How about instead of starting out in zone and giving them a cushion and like just relying on our front 4, which are fantastic and playing unbelievable. Like Jermaine Johnson had a career day yesterday. Al Woods got a safety. Quinnen's just stuffing runs. Nobody can get past him, even triple teaming him. Our guys, our front 4 are making an impact and putting pressure on the quarterback. But for whatever reason, they cannot put the quarterback on their ass, or they're getting thrown over their heads with screens and dump offs.
Yeah, and I just don't understand what took so long to put a spy on Russell Wilson.
I texted you yesterday during the game. I literally texted you. I said, can we fucking put a spy on this guy? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, same thing that killed us at the end of the Chiefs game. We gave up those third downs. We didn't have someone watching them. And the holding call, of course.
The non-holding call, I should say.
Shouldn't even be in that position. We shouldn't even be in that position. Russell Wilson looked good. I mean, he looked young, but we still held him to like 97 yards in the first 4 quarters. You know what I mean? He was moving a lot. He just couldn't get anything going between the coverage downfield and then the line. He couldn't get anything going.
He did not look like he knew what was going on. Like he was running for his life. Even in the first quarter when he was getting all those running yards and moving the football, like he was just scrambling, trying to survive. And coverages were breaking down. And then the second half of the game, when we wouldn't let him run, we actually made him play the quarterback position. He couldn't do it. Literally, they had negative 18 yards on 5 drives in the first 5 drives in the second half. Like that just goes to show how inept he was at the quarterback position. It's not just our defense putting the pressure on it. It's also, great quarterbacks figure it out. And clearly, he's not a great quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, to clarify, I meant more so like he didn't look old. He didn't look like he was having trouble moving or throwing. He looked physically, he looked good. But I mean, the fact that the defense has now basically stifled 3 very experienced and successful quarterbacks and made them look like shit between Mahomes, Josh Allen, and now Russell Wilson. I mean, that goes to show the level that our defense is at, and the fact that they're starting slow and then shutting everyone down in the second half. I mean, this defense does have potential to be what we think it can be. Yesterday's
second half touchdown was the first touchdown that our defense has given up in the second half in like forever.
It's insane.
It's insane. It's insane. Like our defense does not let up points in the second half, and this goes to our original point. We cannot continue to start slow. We don't let up 17 points to the Chiefs. It's not even a ball game. We dominated them. Like it's not even close. And this week we started off slow. We allowed a touchdown right off the rip. It was embarrassing. I mean, granted, we stopped them on the first drive and 3 and out and got that. Well, we didn't stop them, but we got that fumble recovery, which was huge because our offense started out flat. But at the same time, after they got the ball back, they marched right down the field. Kept giving it to the young undrafted rookie, and he ran all over us. And Russell Wilson did the same thing. Yeah, we can't allow that to continue.
No, I mean it's a clear weakness in the defense, and then also just to the point of not letting up touchdowns in the second half. This year specifically, it's not like we're down 30-0. By the second half, we're starting to get momentum, and that other offense is playing to win still. Right, They're playing to win. They're still throwing in the second half. They're trying to get the game, and our defense plays better. It makes no sense. But in terms of
a place like Mile High,
that's crazy too. I want to touch on that. But in terms of them running on us, it's the same thing. You have that the QB scrambling, you have the screens, dink and dunk. But then all of their runs are slow developing runs. They're misdirection runs because our line just blows right by them. No one in the first half, no one was setting the edge. You didn't notice it until the second half where, we'd get that crazy penetration with whoever was on the outside. They'd set that edge and not allow Russell Wilson to move the pocket. But in the beginning, everyone's just crashing the middle. He's running around doing whatever he wants, and that's what we saw Mahomes do. That's what we saw Dak do. So it doesn't make sense. They have the capability to shut down basically any style quarterback, but we're not seeing it until the second half.
Here's a novel idea, because it's a totally different defense in the second half. I mean, it's not like you said. It's not like we're playing with the lead in most cases. Like yesterday was the first time our defense really had an opportunity to play with a lead and pin their ears back and really, put some pressure on the quarterback. It's usually we're playing by a field goal or a touchdown behind. But you can see the difference between the first half and the second half with the defense. The first half, we can't get off the field. We continually let up big third downs that happened again yesterday. We let up a couple big third down conversions in the first half. And in the second half, for whatever reason, we lock it down. The teams cannot move the football. Teams are going 3 and out consistently against the Jets in the second half. Why is it that we cannot put the second half defense out there at the beginning of the game? Because if we did that, then we'd be an all-time great defense. I mean, really think about it. We're not letting up any touchdowns or any points in the second half. So if we could do that in the first half, we're going to let up 7 to 10 points a game. And that's an all-time great defense. Why is that we can't? It takes us that long to figure it out. All we need is to tighten it up and be sharp in the beginning of the game, whether it's the play calling, whether it's the motivation at the beginning of the game, which I don't think it is. Like you said, these guys are running around. And I want to touch on Quincy Williams because the guy is playing at an all-pro level. He's one of the best linebackers in football right now. I don't care what anybody says. Quincy 100%. Williams has leveled up as a linebacker in the NFL and made one of the biggest leaps from one year to the next that I've seen in a Jets player in a long time. Usually you don't see guys that, the Jets, he wasn't drafted by us. He was drafted by the Seahawks, but we really kind of coached him. We kind of brought him up, the Jets organization. And you don't usually see the Jets develop young raw talents, because that's what he was. He was a raw talent. Like he had all the physical tools, the speed, but he didn't have it between the ears. He couldn't cover. There was a lot of flaws in his game, and I think this year Quincy Williams has really figured it out. He's been great in coverage. He's running sideline to sideline. The guy is all over the field. He's every single play. He's in on the tackle. Every single play. Yeah. And finally, I think maybe Jeff Ulbrich listened to me on our last show when I said, can we fucking blitz Quincy Williams and send him in at the quarterback, see what happens? We send him in and he makes plays. He's a game wrecker. He had 2 sacks, a game-clinching forced fumble that Breece Hall ran in for a touchdown, which I'm so happy he got that. He deserves it. He's been riding with us since we were terrible, and he was the number one. Like the fact that he's our bench, our backup cornerback right now, and he was our number one guy like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and all of this is credit to, we can get on the coaching staff, we can get on JD, but all of this is credit to the coaching staff and JD, right? Saleh, that's what he was sold as, a guy that can develop linebackers, and that's exactly what he did with a guy that got dumped off by the Jaguars, Quincy Williams. He was saying, I don't remember when this was, but he was talking about how San Fran wanted to draft him because he was so raw, and they were just developing linebackers like it was nothing.
Look at Sonny Warner. He's the best linebacker in football.
Phenomenal. So now you see Quincy taking that step where he's not just creating splash plays. He's pretty solid in coverage now. And he has the closing speed to catch up with these tight ends. He's not missing tackles as often as he used to. He's sticking people. He's wrapping up. And I think he has a bunch of tackles for loss, but he's getting credit with play-stopping tackles, not just total tackles, play-stopping tackles. You can look those stats. He's up there when it comes to that, and it's very impressive.
Impact plays, like we talked about C.J. Mosley not making impact plays, which he did yesterday. I'll give him credit. And
he played great yesterday.
In Kansas City, he made that big pick as well. So I will give credit where credit is due, and he made some solid plays yesterday. But Quincy Williams is really the guy who's making those impact plays for our defense, and he's becoming a game wrecker. Not just making impact plays, but he's wrecking games for offenses. And that play, look at this play. I'm gonna play it for everybody. Look at this. Let's just put it down.
Making a 60-yard attempt. Wilson left the football.
Breece picks it up and runs it back. But I want to go here on this sequence. And people don't realize right here, around my mouse, I wish I had one of those telegraphers.
Yeah, you can mark it.
Where I can mark it. But if you can see where my mouse is, this right here is our first-round draft pick who's finally getting some playing time. And the reason why he's getting playing time is because they scratched Carl Lawson, which I'm down for. Carl Lawson has been MIA the entire season. He hasn't done anything. Let's try to trade him, get something for him by the trade deadline, and let's let this guy Will McDonald play, because Will McDonald sets up Quincy Williams to make this play. If Will McDonald does not have this spin move in his arsenal, doesn't make this beautiful spin move, that right tackle might be able to slow Quincy down for making a play. So
I texted you right away when this play happened. Right away that spin move set up the sack.
So if we're playing it slow here, look at Will McDonald with that spin move. He's 3/4 of the way around, and look, that right tackle is so consumed with Will McDonald, our rookie, that he completely forgets that Quincy Williams is flying around him with that speed, absolutely flying around him. Now, I'll tell you right now, that right tackle is stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah,
he can pick up Quincy, and Will McDonald's getting the sack.
But look at the feel from Quincy. He basically hides behind Will McDonald that whole way. He lowers his level. He's shielded by Will McDonald. By the time the tackle recognizes that Quincy's there, he's behind him. Look, you can't see exactly. And not to mention, McDonald's spin move takes up like 5 or 6 yards alone, and he's quick enough to where you have to bite on that. You have to bite on that inside stunt right on that spin move, and it's just perfect. You couldn't have drawn it up any better than that.
There's a few guys that can pull off a good spin move as a defensive end and put some pressure, but his spin move really, really reminds me of Dwight Freeney, who's the godfather of the spin move. Like, it's so tight. He sets it up so well, going outside, making it think he's doing an outside move, and he just tornadoes around and gets inside. And give credit to the tackle, because he did a pretty good job following him on that spin move, but because of the way the defense was set up and Quincy Williams, like you said, hid right behind Will McDonald, and his speed, he was able to get around that edge really quick and finish the play. And just watch how quick. I'm playing this in slow motion. All of a sudden, he's got
the ground he covers.
Like, oh shit. And Quincy Williams is already
look at that bend, like a DN, dude.
Yeah, look at that.
Flying around.
He's almost like at a 45-degree angle right now. Like, look at this. Flying. He might be the fastest linebacker in football, by the way.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. And he comes in, and Russ takes 2 or 3 steps, and he makes a beautiful tackle. And just Russ being sloppy with the football. Like, it's not like he went to go punch the football. He was just trying to make a play. And Russ was being sloppy with the football, and where he was wrapping up just happened to hit the ball. Boom. But either way, even if he just comes up with the sack here, doesn't even force this fumble, just comes up with the sack, it's a major momentum shift when we're only up by 3. Like, I'm sitting in my chair at this moment, like sweating bullets. I'm like, I can't believe we're about to blow this 10-point lead. I cannot believe this is about to happen. Like, this is the most Jets way to lose ever. And here we go. Like, the cynic in me, the typical Jets fan, is expecting the worst at this point, for them to just drive down the field and our defense turn into Swiss cheese and give up the touchdown. And this guy, Quincy Williams, after this play happened, I'm running around my house. I'm fucking sprinting. I'm like, let's fucking go! Woo! Going nuts, because we don't get this stuff as Jets fans. We don't. No. This kind of stuff does not happen where we have a big play like this to seal the game. Where, maybe we'll get a win where our defense makes a stop and they run out of time. We get a win like that. But like that was an impact play, a game-changing play, and after that happened, even though the announcers are like, oh, it's over. Oh, don't forget the Browns game last year. I'm like, oh, shit, fuck. Yeah. Like, here we go. But we had a play like this where we ended the game on one play. Ended the game. It shouldn't have been here in the first place. We shouldn't have been in this situation in the first place. But that fumble, and I'm watching this ball. I'm like, oh, it's going out of bounds. Third down, 3rd and long. They're going to be in big trouble. But Breece Hall deserves this, man. Perfect scoop and score. Like, that was not an easy ball to pick up.
Hell no, that was athletic as hell. He got low, he ran right through the ball, didn't even slow up.
Nope.
That was pure adrenaline, and that was the nail in the coffin. Like, that's 2 wins now, two like basically walk-offs. This is essentially a walk-off. It was. I mean, you can't ask for better.
It would have been as much as that touchdown sealed the game. It would have been nice to see him run down the sideline and take off a couple more ticks.
Yeah.
But this sealed the game, and you know what? He's probably thinking in his head, like, holy shit, I'm about to score a touchdown in the NFL after being a starter and then losing your starting position to an all-pro caliber guy like Sauce and DJ Reed.
Yeah.
It's no fault of his own. I don't think when Breece Hall was starting, I liked him. I did. I thought he was a solid player. He was young, making young mistakes, but I thought he was a pretty good player coming out. I think he was Virginia Tech.
No, UVA.
UVA, yeah, that's what it was, University of Virginia. And he was a very highly touted prospect coming out of college and dropped because of his injury. Mm-hmm. So I always liked him as a player, but it just so happens that we, pick up DJ Reed and, the number 1 cornerback in football in the draft. You're going to lose your job. It's unfortunate, but the fact that he stuck in there as a Jet and he showed up when DJ Reed went down, he played really well yesterday. I really think about it. Yeah. How many times did you hear Jerry Jeudy's name? How many times did you hear Cortland Sutton's name? You didn't hear them all day.
No, the coverage altogether was great, and I would assume that that's what led to a lot of sacks and stuff as well. Like, it was just tight coverage all around. I mean, Sauce had one of his signature games. Couldn't even
staple game.
Didn't even get thrown at. And then Breece Hall kind of picked up where he left off. He was always very sticky in coverage, just terrible ball skills. Right? He never could find the ball for whatever reason. But if he's just in the vicinity and Russell Wilson's getting pressured, he's not going to be confident enough to throw in those tight windows. And we kept those windows tight all game.
Our secondary really stepped up. Michael Carter's top 1 or 2 nickel corner in football. Yeah. He's unbelievable. And speaking 100%. Of which, we got to figure something out with the names of our players. Like, we got Breece Hall, Breece Hall, Breece Huff. We got Michael Carter. Like, we got all of these things going on. Like, can we figure something out here? Because I'm retarded and I'm trying to say these names and I'm just getting all fucked up here.
Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I can't do it. It's too much.
You're dealing with a half retard over here. It's ridiculous. But give credit to these guys. Oh, we got the young Fajardo in the chat. The young Fajardo's joining us. My man Ant is joining us.
What's going on, Ant?
But no, our secondary played great. And another thing that I was very excited to see with our defense, Eric, was the other guy, Breece Huff.
Yes.
He was in the game a lot more yesterday, and he was making plays all day. He was in and around the quarterback's feet all day. He was making tackles in the run game, which we haven't seen from him in the past. He was all over the place, and I'm very glad the defense made it. The defense made adjustments because Carl Lawson has been MIA and gave this guy his rightful shot. That I think he's done.
Yeah, and the coaches do obviously as well. I mean, this is back-to-back games with career highs in snaps, career highs in pressures. He comes out with 2 sacks, 2 sacks, whatever it was. He was dominant. He's dominant. It's constant pressure. He's everything that we thought Carl Lawson would be, and he's proving to be pretty decent on run defense. So you don't have to pick and choose the downs you put him in on, and you see at the end of the game. That's when our scheme shines. We got these fresh guys flying off the edge, just attacking the quarterback, and it just completely stifled the Broncos offense. And it's a huge that they were able to stay in shape for all 4 quarters between Huff, JJ, and then the linebackers. For them to not be gassed in the 4th was phenomenal.
Oh, it was huge. And the fact that we were able to get some extended drives in the second half and not go 3 and out also, I think, helped our defense.
Yeah,
but I was really nervous in the 4th quarter when we had that turnover and we had to turn around and go back on defense. I was nervous that our defense was going to be tired, and Tiki and Matt Ryan made the great point. You see Jermaine Johnson gassed, like you could just see him, like he was gassed, and he was like, they're gonna rotate out these guys and bring in a fresh four. I'm like, yep, this is great, this is fantastic, because we're gonna keep this pressure going. Not many teams have that opportunity or have that luxury to be able to rotate their defensive line and have impact players on their second rotation, not just on their first team guys.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's where the scheme shines. That's what we were sold on. We were sold on waves and waves of absolute murderers going for that quarterback with a lead. And they finally got to show what we set up over these last few years. And that's a dominant fourth quarter defense if you have the lead. That is dominant. Good luck.
And that's the thing. It should be a dominant defense through all four quarters, and we shouldn't be playing in the second half from behind. It's because we're starting out slow. We're not firing on all cylinders in the beginning of the game. Like I can keep going back to the point of Kansas City. We don't let up 17 points. We dominate that game.
Yeah.
We
100%.
dominate. It's not even close. Like if you give the second half scheme and game plan in the first half to Kansas City, it's not even a game. Like Patrick Mahomes is completely neutered. He couldn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, on both sides of the ball. If it's two things that I'm really looking at to develop hopefully throughout the season, it's the defense starting off quicker and the offense scoring in the red zone. We should have put up 50-something points on the Broncos. We had 5 trips to the red zone or something like that. Like,
so
pretty crazy.
I'm 100% in agreement with you. I mean, the first drive we completely stalled, and then we had another great move. I feel bad for Mecole Hardman. I feel terrible for the guy because I think he is talented. He's got tons of speed, and I would like to see him get some manufactured touches, whether it's end arounds or screens or things like that, because I think watching him with the Chiefs, they used him for a reason. They're a Super Bowl team, multiple times Super Bowl winning champions, and they used him for a reason. And it's not like our wide receiver room is insanely deep. Like Lazard's playing great, but I think he's a 3 more than a 2. But Irv Charles got elevated because Mecole Hardman was scratched. And the reason why Irv Charles was elevated was because our special teams coach was like, Boyden was like, yo, dude, we got to get this guy up. Like, he's an unbelievable special teams talent. And
our gunner was hurt. Eccles was hurt.
Yes.
So we needed a new gunner. Irv Charles was the only, you saw him in the preseason as a gunner, and he looked good. I think they might have showed it on Hard Knocks too, but, he comes in, his first shot, forces that fumble, gets the ball back in our hands.
Mims from the 25, and he cannot escape.
That's it. Perfect.
Scooped up by the Jets.
So it wasn't even like the receiver fumbled the ball. The receiver made the catch.
Yeah.
The returner made the catch.
Well, do you remember the call on the field?
Huh?
Do you remember the call on the field?
What was the call?
So the referees negated the return because they ruled it a muffed punt. So they sent it back 5 or 6 yards because we had the recovery. So they ruled it a muffed punt and then pushed us back. I couldn't believe that after watching it back. I actually missed this play.
We can't get a call for our life. We cannot
It's insane.
get a call for our life. It's crazy to me. But Irv Charles, first action in the NFL. This is literally his first action as an NFL player in a regular season game. And this guy comes down, flying down the field, and makes a massive play. And we really needed to convert, and we let our defense down here. This is a huge turnover. We set up the offense inside the red zone after they stalled in the first drive, and we had an opportunity to put 7 points on the board for free. It was basically free 7 points. We were in the red zone starting our drive. And,
he cannot escape, and he loses the ball. Scooped up by the Jets.
Yeah. So we should have started right there.
Was that Quincy that picked it up?
No, it was
Sherwood. It was Sherwood. It was Sherwood.
No,
Sherwood
it wasn't.
had a good game. Yeah, look. Oh, no.
No, it's
Sherwood saying hello. Who is that?
52.
52. It used to be Jermaine Johnson.
I'm not sure who that is. I think we just picked him up.
Govden?
Gowden. I don't know who the hell that is, dude. But he impact play.
Big fucking play. Way to be there to make the play. And, that's because Irv Charles got elevated and had an opportunity. He, our special teams coach has been hyping this kid up the entire time. And, when you're given opportunities in the NFL, they, especially a guy like him who has to earn his way, they're not just given to you. And when you get them, you got to take advantage. And I'll tell you right now, this kid took advantage of his opportunity, and I hope to see more of him on the field making plays because he that was a big spark for our offense, even though we only came away with 3 points. And I want to continue on our red zone topic that you brought up because it is very nerve-wracking watching our team in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to watch, honestly. It's like you see Breece Hall getting these 9-yard chunks all the way down. We're on like the 10, we're 6 out, whatever the case may be. And then anytime we run the ball, stuffed right away at the line. So I don't really blame him for trying to run, considering how much success we had with it. But they seem to be lacking is like you're not seeing motions, you're not seeing play action in the red zone. You're not like that's where you got to get Zach involved because it's hard to run the ball in from 5 yards out. We got to let Zach play a little bit. You got to let him play. You got to find those big bodies between Conklin and Lazard. I mean, and Ruckert, we have an opportunity.
So I think, the first couple red zone opportunities that we had, I don't mind run, and then pass. I don't mind that because of how good Breece Hall was playing. Because it wasn't just a 77-yard run. He had a multiple 20-plus yard runs, and he was just getting 9-10 yards at a clip. He was unstoppable. It was beautiful to watch. But after the first couple drives in the red zone where we couldn't score and we came away with field goals, we needed to mix it up a little bit. And, when you hear the announcers talking about it, like, oh, I expect a play action here. Like they should be doing a play action here because they set up the run their first couple drives. Like, let's hit a little play action boot, maybe Zach Wilson bootleg run or a pass, like you said, to Conklin or one of the big boys, because Conklin's turning out to be a great weapon. He's an unbelievable route runner, and he's got really, really good hands and needs to be utilized a lot more. And so does Ruckert as well. Uzama made some big blocks yesterday as well. I got to give him. We've been pretty hard on Uzama, but in the red zone specifically, Eric, we cannot continue to just be so vanilla. I think a lot of the reasons why Breece was able to run the ball so well between the 20s was because we set up with motions. We were creative and got defensive players moving around, which opened up holes. In the red zone, it was just kind of very vanilla packages. It wasn't anything creative or it was just like, all right, we're going to line up single back or power eye, and we're going to run Breece Hall right into you. And I like my odds with Breece Hall, don't get me wrong, but you got to, if it's not working, you got to. I want to see adjustments. That's all I want. If you miss on the adjustment, you run a play action pass and it doesn't work, I'm okay with that on first down and missing and trying something else on second. But
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of an insanity. And that's kind of what it felt like yesterday. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the case all year, but I would expect them to make adjustments. I feel like every game we're starting to, like, especially the last 3 or 4, we're starting to see everything that the fans are clamoring for, right? Whether it's the Ruckert usage, whether it's, blitzing, whatever the case may be, they seem to be making these adjustments and they seem to be seeing what we're seeing. You know what I mean? I'm looking, we got away with the Broncos, the Rams. If we're going to play the Chargers, I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen in and out.
Yeah.
There you go. Now we're good.
I'm good. Yeah. If we're going to play some of these higher scoring teams, like, we gotta end it in the red zone. We got to start coming away with 6. The field goals aren't going to do it anymore.
No, look who we have next week. We have the Eagles. Yeah. We want to beat the Eagles, which our defense is capable of slowing down the Eagles, and their secondary and defense has been very suspect, and they have been in some very close games that they should have lost. and they in reality they should have dominated those games because of the matchup. They're not looking like they used to, even though they are undefeated. They've had a pretty easy schedule so far. It's a very winnable game for the Jets, and to me, I want this win bad. As tough as the game is, I want this win bad. But the point is, if we get into the red zone against the Eagles and we come away with field goals, expect a loss. Like the game is, we're not winning that game. We have to score touchdowns in the red zone, and the lack of targeting of Garrett Wilson in the red zone was sickening yesterday. I don't care that we were running the ball twice and then throwing it. Like, Garrett Wilson is a guy that you can literally throw fades to, and he's going to make a play. Like, just put the ball in a position where Garrett can make a play, and where only he can make a play, or the defender can swat it down but can't pick it. Just a fade route. Garrett is phenomenal at it. Look at the preseason, the ball that granted, Zach's not Aaron Rodgers, but look at that fade route that he threw him. He jumped over the dude and picked it off his head because he's so good at not showing his hands. Like, we talked about that in the preseason game. The only reason he got that catch was because he waited to the last possible second to show that he's going for the ball. He's so good at it. Why not give the kid a chance? Like we did. It took till the end of the game where Patrick Surtain, in my opinion, should have got called for pass interference, which was a worse pass interference than what Sauce did against the Chiefs, in my opinion. And he came up with the pick, and it was a bad ball by Zach Wilson. It should have been a back shoulder throw, but that was the first time that there was a ball thrown for Garrett Wilson to give him an opportunity to make a play.
I think he should have made that play, honestly.
I do
you know
too.
what I mean? When he cut back in and he was there, went right through his arms, like, you kind of look like, you know who? You're going to tell me Santonio Holmes doesn't make that play? I think he makes that play, dude.
I think Garrett makes it, 7 out of 10 times. Patrick Surtain is one of the best.
He's no joke.
He's one of the best cornerbacks in football. You got to give Patrick Surtain credit. He's one of the best cornerbacks in football. But Garrett Wilson wants to be considered an elite wide receiver. He needs to make those plays. But you watch the play, you could see, and I truly believe that the only reason that Garrett didn't make that play was not because it was a bad ball, but it was because Patrick Surtain was holding his shoulders, and he couldn't turn because it looked like Garrett was expecting a back shoulder throw, and because he was holding his shoulders, he couldn't turn fast enough to get his hands in position to make a catch with his hands. He tried to bucket catch it and bring it in with his chest, and it went right through his hands. But I think that was a direct cause from Patrick Surtain preventing him from turning, and should have been called, because that was more egregious than the Sauce call against Kansas City, if you ask me.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I do think it altered his ability to go get the ball. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the worst pass interference, but as a Jet fan, seeing what we get called for, that should be called. Just like the headshot that Wilson took early in the game didn't get called, but Bryce Huff hits Russell Wilson chest to chest.
Taps him with his face mask. With his face mask. 15-yard penalty on top of. It's like the most ridiculous thing ever. It's like the refs are against us, and I saw a couple people tweeting out about how the fact that the Jets were very vocal all throughout the week about the consistency of the refs and how they need to be consistent. And it's very possible that the refs hold that against them and make calls. But at the same time, this goes back way before. Like, when's the last time the Jets have had a roughing the passer call?
2021.
2021, we haven't had a roughing the passer. There's 2 calls so far this year, 2 that we should have they were clear roughing the passing calls, and we didn't get the call for some reason. Clear. Like the hit on Milano where he wrecked Zach Wilson in the face, and then this past Sunday against the Broncos early on in the game. We cannot get a call to save our lives. And then the same thing with the pass interference call. It's over and over and over again. It's whether it's they just don't make the call, or we get a flat out bad call. It's happening over and over and over again. And the fact of the matter is, we were in both of those games and we won one of them, despite the fact that the refs are not helping us out or giving it, or in my opinion, helping the other team out.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a testament to how hard the guys play for Saleh. 4 quarters as hard as you can. And, that's what playoff teams are made of. If you fix the bullshit right, the slow starts and, making the adjustments, this is a legitimate playoff team. You know what I mean? And they've been building this for a few years now to be a legitimate playoff team. So we're seeing glimpses of it. We're seeing it, here and there, like how competitive the Jets could be. It's just those consistent little mistakes and a lot of shitty luck with the refs. Those two things drive me nuts.
We cannot get a call to say it's every week, dude. It's literally every week we cannot get a call. None. We never get a favorable call ever. Like it's never. I'm like, oh wow, like we got one there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never. I'm watching this game. Like, oh man, the refs screwed up, but I'll take it, kind of thing.
Yeah, we got a couple in the Chiefs with the Chiefs. We got the horse collar.
Yeah,
I'll say that one.
The safety, I'll take that. Yeah. But the face mask, the safety, but it's not very often, Eric. It's really not. It's very lopsided to the other way, and this has been going on not just this year, but for decades, in my opinion.
I agree. 100%.
It's a common theme. But I do want to touch on a little bit the mental errors that our team makes that need to be fixed immediately. Before we get into that, Eric, I really want to know what you think is the best thing that our offense could do in the red zone to put up touchdowns instead of field goals. Because I think if we put up touchdowns instead of field goals, we're scoring 30-plus points a game, and our defense is going to be very tough to put up that many points against.
Yeah, I mean, keep it simple. Running play action boot, get Wilson outside the pocket, right? Because he's a threat to run it in himself. Yep. And then you're going to have crossing routes everywhere, and you got check downs underneath to halfbacks that can catch the ball and take it to the house. I think that I'm looking at it like maximize as much talent at one time, right? So if you get Zach Wilson out, you can take advantage of the fact that he can basically make every throw, with the arm strength, whether it's across his body or not. He could run. And then you're keeping all of those talented guys that we've picked up between our tight ends, receivers, and halfbacks in the general area. Yep. Have them running, crossing patterns just the entire time. Let Zach pick the open guy or run it in himself. I think that if you just add that little bit of versatility, putting that kind of pressure on them, spreading the defense out a little bit with motion, it's just going to make the field a little less congested for Zach to see. Yes.
Especially inside the 10-yard line where it's the most congested on the field because receivers can only run inside the end zone. They don't have places to break off the route, and people are jammed in there. But we have playmakers. We have guys that can make catches and contested catches. And Zach is very capable of taking a bootleg and running it in for a touchdown. He's not scared to take a hit either. And I get, it scares the hell out of me every time he dives for like a first down or a touchdown. I'm like, I love it, but at the same time, like, dude, we can't afford.
Yeah,
we can't afford to lose you too. Like, we're not in a position where we have the luxury where our quarterback and you're not Andrew Luck or big bodied quarterback who can take those kinds of hits. But no, you're 100% right. I don't mind trying in the first drive or two, a couple runs because of who Breece Hall is and how good he is. Like, he's earned that, in my opinion. Yeah. But we have to get a little creative, whether it's a play action, the first drive, and then run on the second, first play and run on the second. But, if that inside the 10-yard line run is getting stuffed right away, we need to move quickly. We need to make adjustments a lot quicker than we did yesterday because we left a lot of points on the board in the red zone because of the play calling, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think if there's a team that you're going to see that that play action in the red zone against, it's going to be the Eagles because their interior D-line is so strong. They're so big. They're unreal. So, running it up the middle is going to be extremely difficult. So I think it's going to force Hackett to start scheming that more often and start, installing that into his offense. But I think it's going to happen now. I think it's definitely going to happen for this week.
It has to. And I'll tell you right now, like, we got to take the training wheels off of Zach. Yeah. As much. Is there music playing on your end?
No.
I hear music.
Yeah, no, I don't hear anything.
That's wild. I hear like music in the background. What the hell is going on? But Zach is making growth. He's had 170% completion game his entire life, his entire career. The last 2 weeks, he's had over 77% completion rating, which is awesome. That's the growth that we want to see. Like I don't want Zach Wilson to go out there and put the team on his back and win us games. Like I would love that. Don't get me wrong, but we don't need that. Like I don't need that as Zach Wilson. I just need Zach Wilson to be a competent quarterback and make the easy throws and the occasional third down. And yesterday he went 6 for 8 on third down and made some huge throws, and none bigger than this throw in the fourth quarter to Tyler Conklin. Look at this, Eric. So Zach's in shotgun, and it's the end of the game. It's fourth quarter. We're up by 3, and he's driving down the field. Look at this fucking throw. He's looking to his left. All of a sudden, he doesn't see anything. He scans to the right, goes through his progressions, and hits a wide open Tyler Conklin for like 36 yards.
Yeah. In the second effort.
Conklin goes down. What a play by the Jets tight end.
But what I'm impressed about, Eric, is not the throw, because we know he can make those throws. We know that Tyler Conklin can catch the ball and run good routes and get open. We've seen it. And we've seen Zach miss these guys in many cases. But what we haven't seen from Zach, I don't think his entire career, Eric, is him going through his progressions. Like it's usually like he looks, he throws. And even in the Cowboys game when he was trying to come back and save the game and threw 3 interceptions, that especially the deep ball to Garrett.
Yeah,
he threw a perfect ball to Garrett, but the problem was he didn't look off the safety, and the safety was able to run over and make a play. If he looked off the safety, Garrett Wilson's probably coming up with that ball and making that catch. He was pretty open, and that's a touchdown if you ask me. So he's learning. You could see in this sequence that he's clearly looking to the left here. Like he's looking at Garrett right here. Like that's his first read. He's looking at Garrett Wilson right here to hit him, and the safety now has to stick. Because he's looking at Garrett, that safety has to stay there. If he doesn't do that, if he doesn't look at Garrett first and just eyes down his tight end, this safety will be here to break up that play 10 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10, the safety's making that play. But because Zach Wilson is getting better and going through his reads, he's looking the safety off and keeping them in position. And all of a sudden, look, that's where the safety would be. The safety would be breaking the ball as we speak, whether he's making a hit or making a play on the ball. But because Zach Wilson went through his progressions and made a NFL quarterback read, that's all we need. We don't need him to make giant plays. It was just that was a veteran NFL play.
Well, the crazy thing is, if you heard Conklin's interview afterwards, Wilson checked to that play. He checked to that. And Conklin, I didn't know. Yeah, and Conklin was the first read, so he purposely looked off the safety. Garrett wasn't the first read. He knew he was going to Conklin, but he eyed Garrett down, quickly snaps his head around, and Conklin's just getting out of his break. And it was a phenomenal route, but it was a crazy good call by Zach at a crucial moment to
moment, dude.
Yeah, to eat some clock and take over some more field. It was huge. That little play right there was huge. He didn't have, over 200 yards, but moments like that is what you want. Yeah, 199. Moments like that is what you want to see.
That's exactly what I want to see from Zach Wilson. Yeah. And I had no idea that Conklin was the first read. Watching it, not knowing that, you look at him, look at Garrett. Garrett being the guy. Yep. It makes sense that he'd be the number one read. And you look at it, I bet if he fired that ball into Garrett Wilson, it would have been a catch, but it would have been like measuring it for a first down, seeing where Garrett Wilson is standing. But there was enough space, and Garrett's good enough, and Zach's arm is good enough. I think it still would have been a catch. But to know that he wasn't the first read and Conklin was, and to see the growth from Zach Wilson sticking with Garrett Wilson, like literally faking out the defense, because that's what it was. The defense, like, oh shit, they're going to throw it to Garrett. That's their guy on first down. He's going to catch it. Like, that safety had to stay put. If that safety does not stay put, Conklin does not make that play. As wide open as he looks right now in this frame, he does not make that play. And you see the safety, who was literally right here in the previous frame. He was literally right here. That's where he was standing. Like, go back to the original play. The safety is right on the D. That's where he is. Because Zach Wilson looked him off, he has to stay put. And now he's firing. And if he didn't have to stay put, he would have been making a break on that ball. And it could have been tipped. It would have been broken up, but it definitely wouldn't have been a first down, and it definitely wouldn't have been 30-plus yard completion because of the play of Zach Wilson. I never thought I'd be sitting here saying that, right? Eric, I really never thought that would ever happen where I'm talking about the fact that Zach Wilson made a great play and a great read setting this up, because I didn't know he was the first read. That is phenomenal to hear. And the fact that he checked to that play, that's another thing that I love to see, that he's able to read the defense. He's able to get to the line and make a pre-snap call and read the defense and make a play that extended the drive. You know, how often do we get into this situation? We're 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and we don't get it. How often? All the fucking time.
And, you know, that's the growth. That's the mentorship of Rodgers. That's the mentorship of Hackett. That's him believing in himself. Like, these are big, big steps, man. That's what I really took away from this game is, like, yes, were there some of the same mistakes that have leaked over from previous weeks? Yeah. But they were kind of corrected in the game. Like, pretty nicely. Like, you know, you saw the proper adjustments. Obviously, it's got to happen quicker, but I saw growth everywhere. I mean, even the linebackers, even, you know, our vet like Mosley looked better today.
Yes.
You know, Jermaine Johnson looked better Sunday. I thought Clemens, who's looked slow and stuck in the mud, actually looked better this game. You know, he's just disruptive. I thought everyone played their asses off, clearly for Hackett. Clearly this game got them a little juiced up. Clearly they knew they had to win this game to keep those playoff chances alive, especially with the Eagles next week. Like, they're self-aware and they're playing like they're self-aware. And this is like the first time it feels like we are in control of the Jets in a way, right? All of our opinions, everything that we want from the team is starting to happen, and they seem to be aware of it. And, you know, and that down to the social media, the way social media was clowning Sean Payton, it's like, it feels like this is the most connected I've been to the team in a long time, even considering we lost Rodgers.
And it's very frustrating because we should be 4-2 minimum, at minimum. Whether it was the Patriots or the Chiefs game that we won, we should be 4-2 going into after the 6-week stretch. But now, because we lost the Patriots game, which I cannot believe we lost after their performance the past 2 weeks. Like, it's really, really embarrassing that we lost to them. They're one of the worst teams in football. And the Chiefs game. But going into week 6 with Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback, many experts were like, yeah, the Jets will be in really good shape if we're 3-3. Going into the bye, and Robert Saleh even, you know, he's like, we're hoping to be 3-3 coming out of that 6-game stretch, and he's like, if we're 3-3, if we're 500 coming out of that 6-game stretch, he goes, we're going to be a really hard team coming down the stretch in the season, because you look at our second half schedule, it's very, very weak compared to the rest of the league, considering how hard the first 6 games were. Now, we still may be 2-4 going into the bye week, which is not what we wanted. I really thought we were going to be 4-2 with Aaron Rodgers, but we have a shot at going 3-3, and I think we can win this game. We need to score points in the red zone. We need to come out on defense in the first half and put up numbers like we are in the second half. And most importantly, I think this is the easiest correction that we can make, Eric, is limit the stupid mistakes. There were so many sloppy mistakes in this game, Eric. And it as a Jets fan, someone who's watched football for a very long time, you don't see winning franchises make some of the mistakes the Jets made yesterday. Point in case is really the highlight of it is right before the half. in the red zone and not coming away with points. I was fuming watching that happen.
Yeah. I mean, Zach hits Uzama inbounds, which isn't good to begin with, but you still got 10 seconds. You still have 10 seconds, and it looked like CJ was the only dude in a rush to get that snap off. So it's like you could say the coaching, but dude, the guys on the field are the ones on the field. You got to be aware of it. The line's got to get set. Everyone needs to know the situation there, and I feel like they did know the situation. It was just slow. It was just too slow.
I think it's a combination of coaching, and I think it's a combination of the players. In the huddle before you walk to the line for that out route that they threw to Uzama that was inbounds, that little flat route.
Yeah.
In the huddle, you need to say to the guys, whether it's coming from the coach in the quarterback's ears, and then the quarterback is relaying it to the team, or strictly from the quarterback. Hey guys, there's 15 seconds left, 16 seconds left on the clock. If for whatever reason this ball does not go out of bounds, is not incomplete, and the clock is running, we need to get to the line immediately, instantly. And like you said, Uzama looked like he was the only one that was urgent. And what drove me nuts more than anything was it wasn't just the offensive line or any position players. It was Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was walking up to that snap so nonchalantly, like he was like in his ear, like walking up, like, and then he just like slowly squatted down for the snap. Like he should have been up the center's ass, up McGovern's ass. Like he was like, yo, give me the fucking ball. Like, let's go.
He should have been yelling at the line to get back. Yeah, you know what I mean? Hey, Rodgers would have been screaming his fucking brains off. Like, you know what I mean? So like that's gonna come. That has to, I mean, you know what? Now he's made that mistake. It's on tape. I don't anticipate that happening again. I don't see that happening again.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right because, there's many times where stupid mistakes by this team or Zach Wilson have been made, and we like, all right, well, now it's on tape. Hopefully they don't make it again. And then the very next week they're making a similar mistake. It's typical of the Jets. And these are things that are going to cost us games against good teams. These are things that when we're in a tight game against the Chiefs or the Eagles or like any of these playoff teams, that when those happen, that those things will cost us games. Like we'll lose games by 3 points, and we'll look back. You're like, man, if Zach just hurried up, or there was some urgency by the team on that player, he threw the ball out of bounds and didn't complete it and just took the points. Like it was not necessary to make that completion because it's not going in for a touchdown. It's almost like the flat route that he threw to Conklin in the third down drive when we needed a first down. Like it was literally the same exact flat route that, like, why are we throwing this ball right now? It makes no sense. So I'm really hoping that we can clean up those mistakes. We were very heavily penalized yesterday, regardless of the calls from the referee. We still had way too many penalties. Becton is playing well. I got to give him credit. He's not playing poorly. He's not playing great, but he's not playing poorly either. He's serviceable at left tackle. But what he needs to eliminate, which will, I think, take him to another level, is those stupid false start mistakes. He's got four false starts this season, and we're in week 5. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to get cleaned up. He's also, he was huffing and puffing, which is understandable. He's saying his knees bothering him again. It's like, are you hurt? Are you not hurt? If you're going to play, man, just fucking play. Let's get to it. But, what are you going to do with that guy? What are you going to really do with that guy?
Makes me nervous.
Yeah, it makes me nervous because you could see the Jets competing with these good teams, and you could just picture, especially as a Jets fan, these fucking bullshit false starts or these terrible roughing the passer calls that are just going to ruin games in big spots. The Chiefs game was a big spot, and it got ruined by penalties. This game, if we would have lost, we would have been talking about every little thing that went wrong, like that false start, like that fucking roughing the passer. It's got to get cleaned up if we want to be a playoff team. And that's our goal. That's our goal. And you know what? That's the standard right now. That's the standard. It is what it is. I don't care that we have a backup in. That's the standard. Even with AVT out, we got to go. We got to go for it. We got to play that way at least.
No, that is no question the standard. And I'll tell you right now, after seeing the mollywhopping that the Bills put on the Dolphins, really makes me believe that this division is still in reach. We don't see the Dolphins till week 12.
Yeah.
and which will allow them to put plenty of tape on film for us to scheme and game plan against them. And then we play them the last game of the season, which I guarantee is going to be a very big game, whether it's for a wild card spot or for the division.
No, it's the Pats game is the last game, isn't it?
Is it?
I think it's the Pats game. We finish with the Pats.
I thought it was the Dolphins because we play the Dolphins week 12, and then it's like 4
then it's like a couple weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Pats, but that's a fucking game we got to win too. You know, Belichick's gonna try to spoil.
Yeah, either way, we have to beat the Patriots. We should have gone 2-0 against the Patriots this year. The fact that we lost is embarrassing, but we have to beat them. We already beat the Bills, and the Bills. Granted, they're in London, which is a tough game for anybody. I hate London games. I can't stand them.
Yeah, me too.
I hope we get rid of them. I really cannot stand these London games. But they did not look good yesterday, the Bills.
Well, they lost Matt Milano and Trey White.
Yep.
I mean,
how long is Matt Milano out for?
I think he tore his ACL, didn't he?
Did he? Well, I
think he got jacked up.
And they lost another one of their secondary guys. They lost another guy yesterday. So they're banged up, and we've already beaten them. And for whatever reason, Josh Allen struggles against us every single game. So we can beat them in Buffalo. We almost did last year. We should be able to compete with the Dolphins with our defense and our running game. They have not a very good defense. Like, their defense is not very good.
Yeah, I like our defense against their offense too. Yeah. I think, regardless with the last 2 weeks, it's positive. It's definitely something to look forward to. I'm interested again. Yes. And that's all you could really ask for as a Jets fan who lost their starting quarterback not too long ago. So it's to see us compete and play well and play whistle to whistle. You gotta love it. The mistakes, you're banking on them, tidying that up. A couple calls go our way. We're talking about a real team that's going to be dangerous in the playoffs when every other squad is getting tired. We have that rotation on defense. We're always going to look good.
I'll tell you right now, because we haven't talked about it yet, and it needs to be discussed. Well, actually, we'll save that for last, because I do want to touch on one last negative thing, and I don't want to.
We're gonna have to glance over some of those comments too. I'm hearing that we're getting a bunch of comments.
What comments?
I don't know. Chat? Apparently, there's comments on the chat. Yeah, we're gonna have to try to sneak those in too, because we got Monday Night Football coming up.
It's just your brother.
What is he saying?
He said Wilson needs to be seen as a real threat. These defenses are going to eat you alive. You do need Zach to put the team on his back. It's what happened in the Ravens-Steelers game yesterday. Pitt defense they closed Pickett, let loose with some huge plays, and Pickens took the lead. That's false. That's absolutely false. The only reason the Steelers won that game is because the Ravens wide receivers dropped every fucking pass. They have like 17 drops.
I saw that.
It was embarrassing. I couldn't believe how many drop passes they had. The Ravens should have dominated that game. It wasn't even close. It really wasn't. And the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers won that game, and Kenny Pickett did not have a good game at all. It was a very, very bad game. And he had one big throw at the end to George Pickens that, because they dropped so many passes, gave them the opportunity to win. But
that was insane. That was insane.
That was a great play.
I do agree with because we were just talking about like what it's going to take for us to be competitive in the playoffs. We're going to need some production from the quarterback. We're gonna have to let I like this style right now, Eric, to get us there. Once we're there, game on. Because if you remember, Mark Sanchez in the playoffs was fucking good, dude. Big play after big play.
This is why I wanted to highlight that third down play to Conklin. I think that was one of the best plays I've ever seen Zach Wilson make. I really do. Looking off the safety, keeping the safety at bay, and firing it into Conklin and getting the first down. Those kinds of things, like being 6 for 8 on third down, like those kinds of statistics are going to win us a lot of games. If Zach Wilson is 70% plus for completions, going 6 for 8 on third down, like that's what I want to see from Zach Wilson. Like I don't need to see 300 plus yard games from Zach Wilson. Like as much as nice as that would be, we don't need that. Breece Hall is clearly, in my opinion, the best running back in football. CMC maybe the best. Maybe you can argue because that guy is just unbelievable. But watching Breece Hall run and watching CMC run, it's not even close. Like, it's really not. Like Breece Hall is one of the best running backs that I've had the privilege to watch. Like, it's just a beautiful thing. And I do want to get into Breece Hall in a second, but I don't want to end on a negative note. So we'll close out on Breece and his performance, a career day for him. But I do want to touch on the really, really bad news that we had on yesterday's game, and that's AVT. It is a huge, huge loss for us. And I feel for the guy so much, man. His second year in a row, season-ending injury in the early games up in Denver, and the guy has a torn Achilles, just like Aaron Rodgers. And it's just so odd to me, dude, that we have two wins this year, big wins, and in those 2 wins, 2 of our best players tear their Achilles. Yeah.
I mean, 2 of our, top 5 players, would you say? I mean, I think AVT slips into that top 5, top 6.
No question. And it's he's all-pro at 2 positions. He can be all-pro at right tackle or right guard.
And the thing is, it's like, I was actually talking to Mason about this earlier. Mason, another hardcore Jets fan with a lot of good insight. I don't think his body can hold up at tackle. I think he's not long enough. So his leverage, he's bearing so much weight from these D linemen. He's just shorter in stature. His arms are shorter. He's got to take the brunt of that force with his ankles and his calves. And at tackle, he's skilled enough. He is, but his body can. Now that we've seen this 2 seasons in a row, his body can't hold up at tackle. And I feel for him. Like, it's because he needs that Achilles more than Rodgers does in his non-throwing leg. It sucks because I feel like we might have ruined this kid's career. 2 season-ending injuries as a lineman because he's playing the wrong position. We've done that kid a disservice, and it's sad. It really sucks because you don't know what he's going to be coming off that. He's a big dude. He bears a lot of weight as a lineman. I would love to see the statistics on linemen who tear their Achilles, but I don't see it.
We ruined the kid's career because
circumstances.
He played tackle in college, and he's clearly good enough to play the position. And you're right, he is undersized for the position, but he's clearly good enough. And we've seen undersized guys perform at high levels before. I think it's just a tough break, in my opinion, because it's not like it was the same injuries back. Like, it'd be one thing if it was two of the same injuries, like he tore his tricep again this year, or tore his Achilles last year. But at the same time, we didn't really have many options, Eric. But
whose fault is that?
I agree. I'm with you. But
it's so devastating, that injury for a lineman. It's fucking devastating, dude. Yeah. That is the worst thing you can get. That's the worst thing as a lineman.
I agree. So luckily for him, Aaron Rodgers is his teammate this year, and Aaron Rodgers is telling the news he's going to come back for the playoffs, which would be amazing, unbelievable.
Yeah,
unfucking real. And I don't put it past him. He's that type of guy. He's very big in his mental game, and I think he's the guy to be able to do it. Now, if I were AVT, I'd be immediately reaching out to Aaron and be like, yo, you plug me in with your doctor. Like, how do we get this going? Let's get the ball rolling.
It's not going to be the same rehab. Two different body types, two different, different kinds of movement. Both of them have to execute. It's just not the same. I'm telling you right now, this is what I do, bro.
So
he's fucked.
I'm not saying that it's not a really bad injury for a lineman. It's a devastating injury for a lineman, but it is this is the situation that we're in, that he's in.
Yeah,
it is what it is. So if you're going to have to get this surgery, you're going to have to do this rehab. Clearly, Aaron Rodgers' surgeon is the best at it. He's clearly the best at. He's done it for Kobe. He's done it for Durant. He's now done it for Aaron Rodgers. And they've all had very, very good recoveries, and they were all able to get back. At least Kobe and Durant, we yet to see Aaron, but the other two were able to get back to their previous dominant form. Now, playing basketball, you need your Achilles big time, but not as much as you would as an offensive lineman with the weight that he's bearing, etc. But it's his best shot. It's the best shot that he's got, and he's got a connection to the best surgeon. Like, it's not like that surgeon's taking appointments from anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's probably really tough to get in to see this guy. He could probably make a call to Aaron and be like, yo, dude, like, help me out because I want to be your guard or your tackle next year. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would like AVT to be at least somewhat close to what his current form is at an all-pro level. Like, if he can go from all-pro to pro bowler and still perform, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's unfortunate that he's not playing at that elite level that he once was, but he's still playing at a high level. You know, that's all we can hope for with a guy like AVT, because that's the situation that we're in. And I hope that he's smart enough to contact Aaron Rodgers and, you know, make the proper moves to make sure that you're getting the best surgery possible, the best rehab possible. So then hopefully next year he can come back and perform at somewhat of a high level and not be a complete liability. And because otherwise our entire offensive line needs to be revamped. Like, everything. Lankin's terrible. And Tippmann can stay. I think Tippmann's playing okay. He didn't do so well in pass protection yesterday. He got kind of beat in pass pro a little bit. But other than that, we need to revamp the entire line. Becton, I don't think is the guy. I don't think he's a dog. I just don't think he's a dog. Like, I think he can be the guy, but mentally I just don't think he's a guy.
I agree.
And then we need Max Mitchell. Maybe can stick around, maybe. But
we'll find out.
Other than that, you know, we need a better center. McGovern's okay; he's serviceable. We need Langston Tomlinson's a bum. Get rid of him.
He looked a little better second half, but you know, it's like he's an open door.
Open door.
You know what I mean? It's not good. It's a detrimental injury. It's like there's not much else to even say about it. We're gonna see some, you know, line adjustments, or I'm just hoping Max Mitchell can just fill in, but you know Becton's gonna go down soon. Dwayne Brown comes back in a couple weeks. Does he even? Well, you know, it's just like
Dwayne Brown needs to retire. He needs to retire. He missed the entire offseason. He looked like garbage the 2 games that he played. Becton, I think he's an injury waiting to happen. He went out twice yesterday. I can't believe he came back both times. I think he's just a baby, personally. I think he's just babying his knee. I think he's looking for excuses rather than, you know, buckling down and bearing down and, you know, being an elite level player. Because I mean, he looks like a man among boys out there. He's so much bigger than everybody. But he just mentally is not there. So it is a devastating injury, and I really hope that – and I think our team can. It looks like our chemistry after the Aaron Rodgers speech when he showed up on Saturday night, I think really united that team and brought us back together because we were pointing fingers the week before. I think it did a lot for the team personally, especially seeing how the team rallied around Zach after the fumble. You know, I think we got a good group of guys that – injuries or not, we're going to be able to figure things out and get better. And then especially when you add in a guy like Breece Hall, like I said, is probably the best running back in football. We're going to win a lot more games just because of Breece. And it begs the question, Eric. We're a playoff team last year if Breece Hall doesn't get hurt, no question.
I mean, Breece Hall and AVT. But yeah,
forget it. Put AVT aside because AVT got hurt, you know, fairly early in this game, and Breece Hall still had a day. Breece Hall still had a day. So put AVT aside. Like, forget about whoever the offensive line is. That guy is unbelievable at running the rock. He's unbelievable. He is
smooth. He's smooth. And you know what? You could see he's like hitting the holes with more conviction this year. Like, his vision looks good. It's like he sees everyone around him and he sees the second level. He's got great eyes and great balance, and it's like it's really a treat to watch. Like, I would watch, like I texted you, I would watch him run sprints in a field by himself. Like, the dude is a special athlete, and to come back from an ACL tear the year before, I think the kid's only going to get better. You know, he's very impressive.
5 miles per hour on that 77-yard touchdown run. The second highest speed, not on the Miami Dolphins this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
On the Miami Dolphins this year. So the guy is just unstoppable. Like, every run, I feel like every run is 5 5 yards minimum. There was very few runs yesterday that he got stuffed at the line. Only in the red zone, really, where he got stuffed in the line. But he was tearing off 20-yard run, 10-yard run, one after the other, and they didn't have an answer for him. And it also is frustrating knowing that he's capable of doing this. And he got 4 touches in the Cowboys game. He got 6 touches in the Chiefs game. Like, he wasn't getting the ball enough. Like, he just flat out wasn't getting. We should have been feeding him in those games. Even on a pitch count, he still should have got a couple more touches than 4 and 6 touches. Like, how many touches did he have yesterday? He had like
24, 22, 23, something like that. Yeah.
Touches. Like, we need to continue to feed this guy. He is such a smart runner. Did you see his post-game interview after the game?
No, I missed it.
Oh, it's great. He goes, I had a couple really good, 10-yard breakoffs where I feel like I could have taken it to the house on a couple of those, but I was setting up the safeties with a couple of jukes. And later on in the game, I knew that they were going to think I would be trying to, fake them out, and I just beat them with speed. And and that 77-yard run, look at this. He wasn't even touched, Eric. He didn't even get touched.
On first down, it came to Breece Hall right up the middle, and there he goes.
God.
Breece Hall into Denver territory, and he's got a Hall pass to the end zone. Jetson.
Like, no one touched him. Not one person. He sees the hole. Big block here. Huge block here. And 46 getting into the second level and making that big block. And then Breece does the rest. He just
runs right by him.
And this guy took a terrible angle.
Well, you could see it looked like he was anticipating a juke, and he ran right by him, just like he said post game. That's crazy.
And
I mean, it's just so smooth.
His strides are so perfect. Like, he looks like a horse galloping. Like, he really does, like a stallion just running in the open field.
Look at that breakaway.
Breakaway speed. Like, he's running away from everybody. And Xavier Gibson's not slow. And
he's running away from Gibson, dude.
Xavier Gibson.
Holy shit.
Blowing by him. Breece Hall is a special player. He's a special football player. And Eric, we've both been Jets fans our entire lives. And, we've had a couple special players throughout my lifetime as a Jets fan. Not many, but a couple. Like Curtis Martin and Keyshawn Johnson for those couple years. And he really wasn't even special after he left the Jets. He was really only special on the Jets. Yeah. But we've never had multiple special guys on our team at once. Like, it's never where we're like, we have playmakers. Like, I remember when we were trying to get Le'Veon Bell on our team, Eric. And I'm sitting there, I'm telling my father, I'm like, Dad, we got no stars on our team. Like, there's nobody on our team that, like, I'm like, yeah, he's a superstar player. Like, the NFL is going to highlight this guy just because he's so good. We got nobody on our team. And years prior to that, there was nobody. Like, look at it throughout our history. Name the best Jets wide receiver of all time.
Brandon Marshall for one season.
One season.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no one.
Name the best Jets quarterback. Name the best Jets running back. Curtis Martin. Other than Curtis Martin, nobody. No. We don't have star power throughout our entire history. Like, there's nobody. Like, Al Toon was our best wide receiver at one point. Like, McNeil was our best running back. Like, what were we doing? Like, we had John Riggins for like a year, and then we gave him the Redskins and went on to have a Hall of Fame career. Like, we had John Abraham, who was a special guy, and we let him go to the Atlanta Falcons. Like, we never have a guy that we hold on to that's just like a Jet, and we're like, yes, this is our guy. And, Breece Hall is a top running back in the league. Whether CMC is 1, he's 1A and 1B here, because that performance was unbelievable. And if we keep giving Breece 15 to 20 plus touches in a game, he's going to get close to, if not over 100 yards every single game.
Yeah, and what really, for me at least, what separates him from a lot of like the popular running backs these days is that he's dynamic and productive in the traditional sense of a running back, meaning like you don't need gadget plays or you don't have to manufacture touches for the guy. He can take it to the house in between the tackles.
No
he
question.
can break tackles. The first guy rarely gets him down unless he tugs him from his jersey. Like, he's making crazy reads. He's making people miss. He's running through arm tackles, and then he's breaking away. This is by far, in my opinion at least, the most dynamic offensive player that I've ever seen on the Jets. I love Garrett Wilson. I love Garrett Wilson, but until he starts snagging those really tough catches consistently, Breece Hall is the premier talent on this team. Yes. Premier talent, and he's young.
Our offense needs to run through Breece Hall. Our offense, everything needs to run through Breece Hall, because if Breece Hall gets going, that's going to set up the over-the-top throws. It's going to set up slants and throws to Garrett Wilson. It's going to set up throws like he made to Conklin. It's going to open up our offense in the red zone. It's going to open up big, deep offensive plays like the deep ball to Garrett Wilson that he made that sliding catch. Which is a great throw, a great ball by Zach. It was and
just stay on your feet.
Yes, I think he kind of had to slide there.
No, dude, he could have ran right into it. That throw was put there on purpose with space for him to make a move on the guy behind him. But because he slid, or on the guy downfield, because he slid, he had to throw a half-ass stiff arm to the corner trying to catch up to him, or whoever that was. You know what I mean? Like, Garrett Wilson does some awkward shit sometimes, even though that's his game.
He was wearing loafers today.
Yeah.
That.
There you go. I guess that fucking answers it. I want all my players to be like Breece Hall, fucking sweatpants, a do-rag, and just be fast as shit all the time.
Man,
that's it. I don't want no fashion bullshit. Stop dyeing your fucking hair. I want do-rags, sweatpants, black Air Force Ones.
Yep.
Do your fucking job.
Yep. Let's fucking go. But Eric, it was a fun episode. Glad to be back. I'm glad we're celebrating a victory. I think it was we had after the Buffalo game. But this is, I think, a little sweeter of a victory, because we lost Aaron Rodgers after the Buffalo game.
Yep.
Even though we did lose the AVT, it was a good team victory. We got to clean up a lot. I think there's a lot to build on, and we left a lot of points on the table. So if we can grow from this victory, we're going to be a very, very tough team to beat down the stretch and make a strong run at the playoffs and possibly even a division title. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Really helps us out. We appreciate everybody that tuned in. We'll be back at least next Monday. We might do one more episode during the week. We'll see what happens if schedules work out. But until next time, guys, JETS, 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 Jets.
Victory screech! Victory!
Fuck Sean Payton.
Yeah, buckets hats on all day, boys. Fuck Sean Payton.
Let's go, baby.
In a city that never sleeps, where legends are born and dreams become reality, a new chapter is about to unfold. Last season, they fought valiantly, leaving their mark on the gridiron. But now, a new dawn emerges, a chance for redemption and supremacy. The Jets have honed their skills, forged their bodies, and sharpened their minds. The stage is set, and they're ready to unleash their might.
Hey, no friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies.
We said 60 minutes. One by one, we're going to knock it down.
Keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back.
We're going to be great, man. I can't wait.